If you could live green, would you? I'm Nick Fedorov, host of Things Green, where we introduce nuggets of green lifestyle from gardening, upcycling, answering your questions, sustainability, even discussing environmental issues. You can become more confident in making the right decisions for you and your family. So come along as we are Things Green. So the last time that we got together, we were introduced to a type of weed abatement, but weed abatement, though, that vernacular is used typically for railroads and houses and homes. You're doing something a little bit different.
Correct. Yeah, we're taking on a grand scale, and we're using between 75 horsepower machines to 135 horsepower machines, running at about 52 gallons per minute. Using drum mulchers to masticate invasive species in our attempt to prevent the fuels reduction.
Okay, so what I found very interesting was that when we started talking about putting this program, it's taken a couple of years for us to get together.
Yes.
So it's not like this has just happened like this. So we've just a lot of thought has been put into these programs. One of the things that I know that the state of California, by the way, we are on a road trip. We are in Oregon because they have forests in Oregon. But what fascinates me is that California has some of the largest forests in the United States. And at any one given time, there seems to always to be a fire. And even though there has been information put out that says that they're supposed to be thinning out and they're supposed to be doing all this preventative fire maintenance, none of it has happened because we continue to have it. You're doing all the preventative stuff. Okay, and that is important on so many different levels, but while I saw you working the last show that we did, and then you told me that this piece of equipment does something a little bit different.
Yes.
Tree huggers, are they going to get upset for what you're doing?
No, actually, they should benefit and applaud at what we're trying to do. Is we're trying to preserve the forest, and we're trying to prevent forest fires. And as you can see here, there's a dead. This would be a noble fir, and we don't. This is if we lit this with a match, it would go up fairly quickly.
This one right here.
That is
yeah,
a noble
you
fir.
actually could tell. See, this actually has something on it right here. You can tell that it's stressed out, and it has this translucent gummy material. This is called gummosis. So out in a forest in particular, if there's gummosis on a tree, it means one of two things. Either drought conditions has stressed this thing out like crazy, or it could have a beetle that's inside of it eating it away. But this one, you actually taught me that this one has a lifespan of a very short lifespan.
Correct, about 20 years.
Yeah, so it could just be dying out because of that.
Right.
It could be 20 years
Right.
old. Yeah, okay.
Right.
So it has these conditions, and it's growing really close to these other trees. So there's this competition that's
Exactly.
going on. That's not good for the trees.
Right. So ODF likes to have a 10-foot span when we're
really?
when we're doing reforestation, when we're planting trees. They want us to have about 480 trees per acre, with the expectancy of mortality rate is about half. So for the EFU, the forest use, we have to have 180 trees, if I'm not mistaken. They may have changed it, but we have to have about 200 trees per acre that are alive for the forest use.
That's pretty fascinating. One time I volunteered for the CDF, the California Department of Forestry, and I went out to this area that was all burnt up, and they gave us these little saplings, and with pick and shovel, we came in and we went and we planted just hundreds and hundreds, it wasn't thousands, but there was a lot of volunteers. And the thing that amazed me was that their expectation is a whole lot lower than what these are right here, because I believe they said only 10% were ever going to grow. But you have more moisture here in Oregon than you do anywhere else, right?
Correct. However, we planted in upwards of 15,000 trees this last winter.
Wow.
And I would say about 80% mortality rate
Really?
because drought conditions.
Yeah.
So-
See, it's not like you can come out here with a hose and start watering.
No.
Stuff like that.
We have specific times of the year where we plant. Normally November or late January is kind of the planting seasons.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. All right, so
Yes.
do they take volunteers for the planters, the planting as well?
They
or-
do.
They do? Okay.
Actually, I will hire you as a volunteer to plant 15,000 trees on our
I
property.
am so not there with that. Okay. All right,
Okay.
so we have a machine that was kind of like the other one, but this little
Yes.
bitty one, kind of.
Yes, so
But-
this is a CEM 36. So this is a 36-inch masticator or drum mulcher compared to the other machine, which is an 85-inch. So this is more for specific criteria when we're trying to individually cut down dead trees, or we're trying to eliminate disturbing the soil, or if we have areas that are steep slope, embankments.
Oh, you
So
could reach.
We could reach out.
Okay.
So that's
okay.
this is a very specific machine for those purposes.
So this is kind of like a modified backhoe.
essentially is.
Yeah. But you have the, like the other machine, you've got the tracks,
Correct.
and then you also have in front over here, you have like a blade to.
Yes. So the blade actually is a dual purpose. It's to stabilize me when I'm using the mastication head and getting it to high elevations. It likes to teeter because it's a lot of weight on the front of the boom. So I use that to stabilize.
Oh.
And then also, in essence, if I need to quickly put a fire break in, I can use the dozer blade and push through.
Okay. Now, am I correct in thinking that this is a grapple?
This is a thumb.
A thumb.
Essentially, it's a grapple.
Oh, okay. So a grapple would be something in the front?
A grapple is
Something like-
specific to clot something. So we have grapples
okay.
on the property.
So this one here, because in the back, it just kind of closes. So you're picking up logs with
Right.
this as well.
Yes.
All right. So what's the agenda for what we're going to do right here, right now?
Well, we have some dead noble fir that we need to eradicate and get rid of, and then also, while I'm doing such, I'll kind of clean up the area with the blackberries and tansy and Scotch broom.
Okay.
I'll kind of fan out the area and make it look. Our goal is a lot of our clients that have us come out, they like the idea of having a state park. So we like to really focus on providing that to our clients and making sure that all the mulch is a fine mulch, and it just provides a nicer portrait for the client.
Nice. All right. Let's see what the kind of damage
All right.
you can do over here.
Sounds good. Stop bothering me.
You think he let me play in one of those machines, but he says, I can't do that. Yeah. It's because of that last incident that happened. All right, so he's getting inside. Hey, you look like you're in jail. What's up with this? How come it looks like you're in jail? Why does it look like you're in
Well,
jail?
Reason for this is that this is a forestry package, so we have the bars here to prevent any debris coming back and hitting the glass.
Oh, okay.
So-
Now, like the other machine that was in bulletproof glass.
This is not. This is regular tempered glass.
Okay.
I have the fall protection. It's called FOPS, fall
Okay.
over protection, and then so I have it on the roof and the front window guard.
Okay. So obviously, when they make the machines, they're really thinking safety on this.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Also, this is a diesel machine.
This is also diesel. Yes.
All right. Let's see what this thing can do. So, for the record, I've never seen this before. I got to tell you, this is one intimidating machine that you have here. You can't have too many of these things working with each other, can you? You're kind of a lone soldier, aren't you?
No,
Whoa.
well, you got to keep about 300 meters away from each other because of how.
Wait. I'm an American. I don't know anything about meters.
About 300 feet.
Okay. Okay. 300 feet away, because that thing was just spewing over there. I thought our camera guy was going to get all, and it was all going. It looks like you were articulating it in one particular direction.
Yes.
But what really amazed me, more than anything, was how accurate you were picking on that one tree.
Correct.
And you were able to get the whole thing down.
Yeah, that's the whole intent of having this machine. In addition to being able to get steep areas around ponds, around creek beds. If there's a steep area, then we could reach out to areas.
So how far does this boom go?
14 feet.
14 feet. Okay, so like with this one, the tree that you had there was probably like 25 feet.
Yeah.
And you got as close as you can to it, nailed it. Some of it came down.
Right.
You chopped all the way down, and then you just started to make mincemeat out of it all the way. And look what we have over here. We have this. This is like this is true forestry stuff right here.
Yeah, that's
Man.
mulch.
That's just mulch right there. That is actually pretty awesome. So the other thing that we also notice is that you have some really fun smells out in the forest.
That would be cedar or
Yeah.
incense cedar. And here's one
Here's one right here.
right next to us.
Yeah, that is really cool. Okay, so here we have, let's talk about this real quick. So here we have 3 trees that are too close to each other.
Correct.
Would you nail the cedar tree, or would you go after the spruce, or what would you do?
So if that looks like a noble in the middle.
Noble fir, I mean.
So a noble, and then you have a cedar on each side. So the nobles, again, being that they have a 20-year life expectancy, I kind of want to get rid of them. So I would rather keep the cedar. So I would eliminate 2 of this bunch of 3.
I see.
I would probably get rid of the noble fir and then one of the cedar trees, whatever one does not look as well as the other one.
Selective pruning.
Selective.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I like about this whole concept is that it seems like it's very sustainable.
Yes.
Because you're selecting things, you're loosening the competition, and then you're also really doing pollution control, because if you have a fire that breaks out, that can be a nasty thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for showing this, man. I've never seen this before. This is really cool.
Thank you.
Cool stuff. Yeah. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it.
Good.
I got to tell you something. I've never seen one of these before, that's for sure. Although it says non-potable water only, so that means you're putting water in some place, because it says fill, it says fire. Is this a fire truck?
Essentially, it is.
Is that right?
This is a fairly new implement for the forest industry. It's probably came out within the past like 8 months, I believe.
Really?
It's called Firebox. I believe they're out of Northern California, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So this is a 300-gallon firefighting tool.
I see.
They also make a 500, so it's a T300 or T3, as I recall, or in a
T3. T3 says right here on the side.
The 3 indicates 300 gallons, and then there's a T5, which is 500 gallons.
Wow. Okay, so in the front over here we have a
Dozer blade.
dozer blade.
Yeah.
So is that to get into the fire? Is that what they're doing? They're actually putting this into the fire?
So yes, and then also you could create a fire break by pushing the foliage out of the way or digging it up and pushing it. So you know, as you get rid of the fuels and you expose just bare earth, that fire's gonna stop. So you can use this as a dozer blade and push all the foliage out of the way and stop the fire.
So are we spraying at the same time that we're dozing?
Well, you could do that as well.
Okay, so I noticed inside over here that we have some hose.
Yes.
So are those just different attachments for this?
Yeah, you could either run a firefighting hose, or you could open up the sprinklers.
So that's what these are, the sprinklers.
Yes.
Now, is it a real fine mist, or is it something?
So I just adjusted it so you could either go to a more of a pinpoint, or you could
Okay.
open it up for a as a spray.
All right. Now, is this thing articulating while it's going, or is it
No,
just straight?
it's
Okay, it's
straight.
just straight.
Yeah.
Now, this right here is obviously where you put the water in.
And you could also run foam.
There's water in here. Look at that. So they say non-potable because non-potable means you can't drink it.
That is correct.
So they may get this like from the lake or someplace, right? So that's the reason why
ponds. Actually, you could reverse fill it. So there's a suction where you can suck it into there, and then also you can fill it with a regular garden hose or a fire truck.
Okay. Okay. So this one right here, this must be like for something, maybe to tap into there to
I
fill
believe that's
or something.
suction. So this
okay.
is normally an indicator that there's a suction.
Look at that. All right, so yeah, and you are filling.
Yep.
You're doing that. I would imagine you would take that off, and then you would have access to the fire hose as well as the fire hydrant or extinguisher that you
Fire
have
extinguisher, and then also there is a option for running fire retardant foam.
there. Oh, look at this, and you have the foam too, huh?
Yep.
Do they put the foam inside
Yes.
here? Is it actual foam, or do they mix it with water?
It's a mixture with water.
Okay, so they put mix of water, it gets all foamy,
Yeah.
probably as it oozes out of here. Okay, and then you have these different braking tools, and there's 3 shovels and dirt tools and things like that in there.
There's
okay,
also a bladder. There's also a bladder that you could fill up if you can't get your machine into there, steep areas, and you could use that.
Oh, look
So
at this.
this is completely ready for the operator to take this and take it back into the fires.
That's amazing.
It is.
And you're using the same tractor in a different show that we used for clearing the brush.
Correct.
Okay, so my concern is this more than anything. You've got rubber tires on this thing. Don't these things melt?
Well, the whole point is to dissipate the fire as you're going into it. So when you're using the sprinklers, you could dissipate the fire when you're going into it, or you can
Okay.
use a dozer blade to get rid of the fire.
To do the same thing.
Right.
So you're actually using this when there's a fire
Correct.
around you.
Yes.
And because that's bulletproof glass.
Yes.
And it's, didn't you say it was like some kind of insulated in there?
So it's a pressurized cap.
Pressurized.
Yeah.
So that's why the smoke wouldn't get into you?
You're going to
what?
have some leakage of
Yeah.
or some smoke, but
Oh,
you're
interesting.
not going to have much.
Yeah, yeah. That's really something. You know, the way technology is, it just fascinates me. And it's made out of, it's necessity. You know, you kind of wonder if it wasn't a fireman or somebody who says, I'm tired. I want to get in there quicker.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Something of that nature.
Well, and time is of the essence when we have a fire. I mean, and our local fire departments are very quick with responding to fires in our area. So if we could get this into a fire, then we could reduce the potential for it to spread quickly.
Now, usually in smaller communities, you hear of volunteer fire departments and such. Is that the case out in an area
Yes.
like this?
Yeah, the local fire department is made up majority of volunteers.
Oh, okay.
There's a few, I believe the higher ups are paid, but for the most part, the volunteers take up the grunt work.
Interesting. Yeah. And you got to really love your community to jump on
Right.
something like that,
Absolutely.
huh? Man, kudos to them.
Yeah.
Kudos to them. Okay, so we could use just regular water, or we can use an additive to create foam.
Yes.
And then this could be adjusted as necessary, but
Correct.
depending on the kind of blaze that you have.
Right.
This dozer can cut through and flatten the fire.
Right.
You know,
Cut a fire break.
how come we have ash over here? Was this on fire before?
This was actually, no, I use this as a slash pile burn area.
Oh.
Yeah, so originally this pile was probably about 20 feet tall.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I burned it all down and then ground it with the ASV and the masticator.
I
Once
see.
it was all the ash was done, because the ash provides nutrients to the
Okay,
trees.
so in the state of California, they've all but eliminated any kind of burn days. You could still do burn days, but you have to buy a permit. You got to tell them, and you have just a window of opportunity for you to do the burning. Do you have to do the same out here?
Yeah, so there's two things: backyard burning, and then you have the agricultural slash burning.
Okay.
So when you have, I forgot what the requirements are for the permit, but yes, once you start going into large scale burn piles, then yes, you do need to get a permit.
Get a permit for that. Yeah, it kind of makes sense, because otherwise people would kind of flip out a little bit and all that.
And we do in this area, being that we had those big fires back in 2020. We do a lot of agricultural burning with hay fields and whatnot.
Oh.
They burn those, and you see plumes of smoke going up, and a lot of us we get PTSD because we're worried, like, is that going to spread? Is that a fire, or is that ag burning?
Yeah.
So what they're doing now is the ODF the local fire departments are doing a lot better job with communication with the public and announcing those ag burn days.
Yeah, that's pretty something. You know, it's really important to keep this in mind, especially if you have a home that is near a fire. That's why it's really important to create a fire breaks around your in around your landscape and use plants that are low in oils. You know, a lot of people think that your native plants are the cat's meow when it comes to working with fires, but for instance, many California native plants are high in oils and they go dormant in the summertime. That's why they're water thrifty plants, and they have those oils inside of them which retains the moisture and they don't die, but it's those oils that become extremely flammable. It's another reason why we talk using about fire safe plants, because there's plants all across that come across from the world that you can use that don't have the oils, but yet they still have a low burn rate. So kind of keep that in mind. And the other thing is this: a fire can actually ignite in your house if a fire is within 25 feet of your house. If you have a window and you got a fire 25 feet away, the intensity of that can actually ignite inside of your house. You got to be really careful. That's why it fascinates me that you have a cab like this and you're actually going into a fire. You can't be afraid to do this kind of work. That would frighten me beyond belief. Yeah. I hope you never have to.
Well, so do I.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty wild when you look at the big scheme of things and how it works. So that's great. All right, what else we got to talk about this? That's pretty much it. So you have 150 gallons over here, 150 gallons over here.
Well, there's baffles in there, so it's a 300 gallons collectively.
Collectively,
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then it looks like you have some. What's this all about?
This is a low flow. So on a machine such as this, we have high and low flow.
Mm-hmm.
So high flow is for when we're running the masticating heads, and the low flow is normally for like this type of implement, or we have a grapple rake or post drive or any of those type of. It doesn't require that high rate of gallons per minute.
I see. So how obviously this thing picks up? How high can it pick up?
Well, you shouldn't pick it up too high, just because it takes it off of balance and it has a potential for tilting. So you want to keep, when you have a heavy object such as this, you want to keep it as low to the ground as possible.
Amazing. Well, I again appreciate you taking us on a tour from the last couple of shows that we have on this whole aspect of fire safety and bringing to light the elements that are necessary for that and the type of work that is necessary to get in there. And it's not for the faint of heart, it looks like. Looks like you guys work pretty hard at that.
We do.
Yeah. I'm kind of appreciating my desk's job. Besides, I'm highly flammable. So
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I gotta stay away from stuff like that. All right. Well, again, thanks a lot. I appreciate that, and thanks for being bitten by the bug for the sake of the trees. That's really good.